I think it's also he recognizes the fact that, you know, when he gets into these moods, if he's near Poppy, like she's gonna take it the wrong way.
That's a really good point.
You know, it could be that he's running because he doesn't want to make anything worse. You know, fight or flight kicks in, and that's okay, I better GTFO before I'm in one of these moods. I mean, he might be actually just recognizing the fact that he's going into that state this time, since it really affected her the last time.
Welcome to The Story Thinker, a Webtoons and Witcher podcast for superfans with scene-by-scene analysis. Featuring sharp co-hosts for a fuller picture, we dive deep into character psychology, relationships, and theories. We'd love it if you could like, subscribe, comment, and rate us on all podcast platforms and social media. For bonus content, you can support The Story Thinker on Patreon. Let's begin.
All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our 100th episode of Midnight Poppyland. And congratulations to Lily.
Yay!
Milestone. And if I'm sure the fandom is aware, because a lot of people have participated, but we put together a kind deal, like a board of messages for Lily's 100th episode, and I hope she enjoys it, because MPL has made a giant difference in so many of our lives, and we're just very grateful, and we wish her the best of success and luck and health and happiness and all the good things.
Yeah.
But I also have to say, I kind of was expecting, in honor of this 100th episode, given the steamy events of last episode, I thought this was going to be the episode where they have sex. But they didn't. But that's okay. Yep. Were you guys also expecting that?
When you said it, I was like, from your lips to God's ears, and I was a little like, I don't want to say disappointed. Like, I was hoping, but I was like, you know what? We got some more emotional processing, and that's okay. That's important, especially for Tora.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. A little tiny part of me was like, that would be fun. And then another part of me was like, but this is a PG comic, technically.
We've had, artists from many stories on Webtoons show, and imply, and like they show us in other ways. There's like a condom on the dresser. It's like fades to black. They make it apparent.
Some rumpled sheets.
I was hoping for a fade to black, but then I was like, we just finished a night. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. That she's going to get through a day in one episode.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
We do tend to have, the days are long. Yeah, but it happens to be, like, as I was saying, this kind of content in an episode, I find extremely satisfying emotionally. Like the very heartfelt, hard-hitting emotional processing, I love it. Like, honestly, I definitely prefer it over, like, sexual content. Not that there's nothing wrong with that. I enjoy that also, but I happen to, like, my porn is emotional porn, 100%. That's what I love.
Yeah.
Crying boys, basically like washboard abs, same thing.
But that's why we love these characters, is because, they grow with us. And, we can find them pretty to look at, but it would get boring really quick if they didn't. Right. So.
All right, so let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we start off with a little bit of a warning that there might be some strong language, and then we roll into a black background because I miss ya. Your smile, your voice, your hair, everything. Poppy remembering Tora's words from last night to dream Poppy. And we have a Tuesday, present day, and Poppy's blushing as she remembers their conversation the night before, and she's got one of her potted plants.
She's biting her lip too.
Oh yeah. You know what that means. She's all aflutter.
She's wearing her, I think sexy pajamas.
Right? Like those are some risque pajamas she's been wearing the last couple of days.
Yeah, right? It's like none of this like t-shirt sweatpants business.
Oh my God. And I have to say, like, that is a huge risk with 2 men in the house, because like, as a larger chested woman, I can't wear spaghetti straps to bed without like, and pardon my phrasing on this, without a titty falling out.
Someone's going rogue.
Mhm. Yeah.
And she wore those in that cuddle puddle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I'm totally with you, Time. I have one. I wear it, but I'm better than my own husband. You know, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I would never wear it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, I looked at that and went, "Oh, that's a problem waiting to happen."
or was it your intention?
Like that must be, it's got to be like a new bra or a new tank top, because she has a lot of faith in those straps. Okay, so she's thinking jewelry would have responded with a, "Don't care if you're upset, you'd better get over it, or it's now or it's over." Meanwhile, she's remembering how careful Tora was, and I can't tell if it was him packing the box or unpacking the box, but
it
just
really
the way
matters.
he's packing it. So
exactly the care that he was taking with her plants. But for all his fiery nature, Tora's been steadfast and reliable and mature, especially when it matters. And it's so new to me, but so comforting and reassuring.
Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful that she recognizes it, you know. And I think that's also great that even when you're arguing with someone and when you're mad at them for whatever reasons, you also recognize the other parts of them that are great and wonderful. And I think that's a mature relationship. You know, you have times when you're upset at each other and things you don't like about your partner. And then the other whatever percent is the great stuff, you know.
Exactly. So she, "I know I'll cave before the week is up, and I don't want to take his patience and kindness for granted." Which again, I mean, we know that she's a loving and caring person too. So like the calendar that she was like marking off the days of how many days she wouldn't talk to him, it's like, we knew that wasn't gonna last. It's been
Right.
2 days, maybe a day and a half.
Yep.
Yeah. She was destined to break way before her actual calendar marks. But at least she's trying. I have to give her credit, because she's trying to hold that boundary of, you hurt me, I'm upset, and I need some space, while still kind of being in that protective bubble that he creates for her, you know, and maintaining her actual safety.
Yeah, it's hard to like take your own space when you're literally in the person's house.
Right.
That he bought for you. Because you said maybe.
Right. So there's a knock on her door, but she's just repeating to herself, "I miss you too. And I can't tell if did he say that I miss you too, or is this just her talking back to herself and repeating it to herself?
Well, she's remembering where he said, "I miss ya." So I think she's just saying, "I miss you too."
Okay. So I'm envisioning this as like a sing-song as she's like setting up her plants. Like she's just like in her own little world, like puttering around the room with her plant.
See, I took that as like okay, I'm not used to responding to these things. Let me practice in the mirror type of moment. I miss you too. I miss you too. I miss you too. Like, that's how it went in my head.
That's very cute.
And she said, "I'm glad I got a chance to practice standing my ground and acting on my own terms with him." And I don't know what she was expecting to open the door to, but like, if you're opening the door, I would not be practicing anymore.
I think maybe she thought it was Tora and she was already talking to him. And kind of
Maybe
up where they left off.
But it is our ray of sunshine.
Yeah, she's like thrilled that Tora comes. Well, she thinks Tora is coming to her door.
I know.
Yeah, so she's ready to be like, "I miss you." And Quincy is just a ray of sunshine in the morning, though you know that he's still not getting a good night's sleep because of this whole ghost situation. And he says, "Oh, really? So do I. But how
Oh
did
my
your romp in
gosh.
the garden go with my bodyguard turnout last night?" And just slammed the door in his face.
He responds so well to positive affirmations. Like, he soaks it up. And we don't know exactly, we always speculate about how his parents treated him. Like, we see his mom so far seems pretty nice, and his dad, we can assume he's not. But he just is he's like a flower in the sun, like whatever the sun is shining, he turns to that and he just brightens up and becomes alive. It's so adorable to see him just be that way. He's such a good boy.
It is. But
He's a golden retriever who just wants to get pats and be told he's a good boy.
Yes. But at the same time, I'm like, I bet this is early enough in the morning that is justified for that door slam.
Well, also, being a nosy ass, guy.
Oh yeah.
Well, and Poppy's face on the return of like, that's immediate. I would have done the exact same thing if it were if it were a friend that I did that and I was totally embarrassed of like slam the door, immediately turn around like, nope, do not perceive me, please don't look at me. And I love there's sliding doors, so she can't even like give it a really good proper aggressive slam. It's just a slide.
Yeah. Interesting. So, yeah, exclamation point.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a good if you've ever had a pocket door, it's kind of the same thing. The pediatrician I grew up going to, her office had pocket doors. So you can still get a good slam because you get it onto the door jamb, but it's not quite as satisfying as the effort you can put in behind a door slam. But either way, Quincy immediately slides it back open. Rude to think I walked all the way here to invite you for lunch.
Being from the next room.
I mean, how big is this place? I mean, if she's in her room, I mean, is Quincy, Tora could have given her privacy of been around the other side of the inner pavilion. So she's like, you could have called my phone.
No, he's sweet, inviting people for lunch, but also such a drama thing.
Oh yeah, he wanted the tea. I don't blame him.
Anyway, Tora, so.
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna use this as an excuse to go and see what's going on.
Yes, he's hoping to find Miss Editor rumpled, and he's hoping to find a hickey on her neck. Let's face it, he wants to see evidence of a good time. He is hoping for the best for both of them for his sake.
So cute, and he is so mean. Yes.
Oh yeah.
So, anyway, what's with the food outside? Just an offering to the spirit in the cabinet, assuming there really is one. And the funny writing on the ground. And she just is it's that, she's in the middle of doing something, and the pause of what? What funny writing? And she's just as panicked. So they go out, and there's the plate with the offering of oranges and bananas, and I can't tell if it's either juice or sake maybe, or wine, or a beverage of some kind. Yeah. And underneath it just says go.
So do you think it's a real ghost, or do you think it's someone playing around with them?
I wouldn't put it past for it to just be Tora trying to fuck with Quincy. Just trying to scare the crap out of him. Yeah, but he's the only one who's calm about this.
But he was half asleep the last time they did the whole ghost thing, and they were the ones that physically pulled him back inside because he was so out of it. He was still dreaming.
I feel like he's smart enough and quick enough to still pull that off, where it's ghost. I think he could still do it even while he's half asleep.
Even if he just strikes me as someone who's a bit of an early riser too, so easily enough to pull something to to mess with both of them before either of them wake up.
Yeah.
And I highly doubt it's aimed at like Poppy at all. He's probably not even considering her in this equation. It's probably just, oh, Quincy's being a little bit of a nosy friend. Let me scare the bejesus out of him to get him back.
Yeah. Or for
I
all
do
the
still love this.
yeah. You know, I know people have speculated, have talked about like Ulaan's ghost. So
I was just gonna say, I do love the idea that it is Ulaan and Yuwa trying to like nudge the two of them together, like, come on, just come on.
go get it then, you know, sort of.
Right? It didn't take us this long. Why is it taking you?
Right?
Learn from us.
So then we see just piles of food. We've got chocolate glazed donuts. We've got wine and 6 glasses with 4 bottles of wine. We've got French fries. We've got croissants.
Which I have to say, if I were a ghost, I would definitely prefer the second offering to the first. No offense, I love food. It's great. Like, give me a donut. You know, that's great.
I loved all of it. The drama of it, they're being totally ridiculous and over the top, and I'm very here for it.
I think they're like,
oh please,
by giving them, you know, food that they actually like. We know Poppy especially has a sweet tooth.
Exactly. Oh please let us stay, and they're bowing, and he'd be devastated if we had to leave. Again, poor Tora, he just invested all of this time and money and effort into this house, and
that he probably overpaid for last minute.
Yes. I also think so.
Right?
Oh, that's got to take a chunk out of his savings.
Didn't Quincy say he had to sell a couple of cars?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the man paid in cash for a house. I mean, we live in America. There's no way I can envision that.
If you tried to do that in the States, that would send so many red flags to the government. It's not even funny.
Responsible. How do you actually, you know, afford this?
Exactly.
Right. Oh.
And Quincy, you know, they're please let us keep. He'd be devastated if we had to leave, especially after he's gone through all the trouble to. And Poppy just kind of, all the trouble to what? And Quincy has his, oh no, panic moment. Oops. Nothing.
Oh my God.
Keep checking, don't stop.
Quincy. Oh my God, he's so cute, Quincy. Such a creative baby.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the yard, Tora is walking around. Like, again, this compound has to be huge if he's this far away from them. I mean, yeah, lawns and gardens and stuff, but like there's huge things of bamboo, and he's over by one of the little pagodas, and he's looking over, and he sees the lantern from the night before.
Yeah.
Don't go out, we need you, dream Poppy whispers. And we see that his box is a solar-powered outdoor lamp.
Oh my gosh, the man is such a sensitive soul. Not only is he sensitive, he's also practical. Poppy said, "Oh, don't go out," and he's like, "I will buy something that will never go out." Oh,
right.
I love it.
The only thing is, I hope he doesn't set up the solar power thing on the inside of that thing.
I hope he's smarter than that. It's just practical. I mean, like, once again, this is like the marvel of Tora, like the tough exterior, and he's got very tough elements, but he really is a sensitive soul inside, and he just loves his girl, and he wants to do whatever it takes to make her happy.
Exactly.
And he's also fast.
And especially if they're also like, if they were all freaked out by, you know, creaking noises and whatnot, adding lights around the exterior is going to make sure that nothing can sneak up on them, especially since, I mean, I think we hear it later on, but like, we know that he's got to have security cameras and whatnot. Like, he's paranoid enough to take his own safety very seriously, especially then with the fact that he's now got Poppy under his roof.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But not only Poppy, he's also responsible for Quincy right now too. I mean,
Yeah.
and that might be his job, but he's also his friend. And
Mhm.
none of them really want to like cause trouble.
Exactly. Yeah.
Level of self-awareness you think Quincy has, like, for his own safety? Like, do you think he just walks around and doesn't notice if anyone's following him or giving him, you know, shooting daggers at him? Or do you think he actually notices?
I think he actually notices because he's smart. He plays it dumb a lot. But when things get like, he has that serious side that we've seen in him a bunch of times. You know, when stuff hits the fan, like, he actually kind of seems like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think Quincy's pretty observant, I would say, especially when if he knows that Tora isn't in his immediate vicinity. He's probably much more aware of his surroundings. But I think probably when he's got Tora like in his immediate vicinity, like I can put eyes on him, he probably lets his guard down a little bit, but especially like if it's a clan, like if he's out and about, probably lets his guard down. But like, I'm sure when he's in any kind of clan environment, his guard is always up regardless, because you know that he doesn't trust anybody else except Tora and maybe his mom in the clan.
And from the conversation he had with his mom, oh God, several episodes back now, I get the feeling like he's been kind of playing Vince, slowly trying to play Vincent a little in some way. Like, there's something going on there that's like riding under the radar between the mom and Quincy and Tora that we just haven't found out yet. It's just, I don't know. I got that foreshadowing like impression from that whole conversation with his mom.
I think she's in on whatever D-Day is as a plan that they talked about back in the Moonbright arc. I think Goa's in on it. What that is still, we're not sure, but I have a feeling she's read into some level, because we know that she also has no tolerance for Vincent and his bullshit.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see her, you know, be involved in whatever unraveling plan. That would be very cool to see that.
Yeah.
But Quincy's definitely a chameleon. He's blended into his surroundings and he's very good at it, because when he talks to his mom, he's part of her clan and doing the best for her clan. But when he talks to his dad, it's always more about the 𝗏𝗏𝗱 clan. So I think we're going to get a much more complex bit from him later. But I mean, I'm hoping it all turns out for the best.
Fingers crossed.
Right?
I'm like, this is going to be a great, happy, wonderful story.
Yes.
No one's going to die.
No. Quincy's going to take over and they're just going to get their happy ever after.
Problem solved. And so we get some Tora dialogue here. Sometimes I try to imagine what it's like to live outside of the shadows. And he's setting up the lantern. And there's just enough for the stone lanterns. I'll order more for the rest of the garden. Meanwhile, there's a no exclamation. And he sees Poppy and Quincy still prostrating themselves to the house ghosts. Oh my God, stop groveling, Quincy. You're a rich and famous novelist. Have pride in yourself. I do have pride. Rainbow pride.
I laughed so hard at that.
Our pansexual princess.
Yeah. He is just the cutest. I can't believe how cute he is. He's just so adorable. I could just express my love forever, but it would just be repetitive.
Well, and I love that his face is so earnest. Like, he's still groveling to this house ghost, even though he's making his pun about himself at the same time. Also, I do love Poppy's orange shirt. It's so like vibrant and summery for her, and her little short overalls.
Yes. And we forgot to mention you were wearing a Midnight Poppyland inspired shirt.
Yes, I thrifted this Poppy shirt.
It's awesome.
And then so now Poppy's like crying, laughing. Okay, that's fair. And so Jen, this is where I pass it over to you with Tora and his forlorn look.
Right? You get that forlorn stare of like, but I want to be there too.
I want to be where the people are.
Yeah, and I think especially because that's something he feels he lacks, that social ease that Quincy has, the ability to be happy and laugh. You know, I think if he thought about it for a second, he would recognize Poppy appreciates many qualities about him. But I think he always feels like he's the stark and stoic one and doesn't, you know, words don't come easily to him. And I think that especially is something that he feels he lacks.
Yeah, that's the look of, why can't I do that? Why can't that be that easy for me?
I think he struggles with the fact that like Quincy and her friend and Jacob and Ardeen, she laughs so easily and freely with them. And while she's I think he recognizes that she is comfortable with him, but he knows he's on thin ice right now. But I think getting those kind of like genuine emotions from her does not come as easily to him. So yeah, he's like, I just want that. Why can't it be that easy for me too? I just want that level of casualness with her especially, but probably literally anyone.
Yeah.
He's always had to be removed, and this whole thing that he says now is very explicit.
Yeah, because he continues on to, if I wasn't born into this godforsaken life of violence and crime, maybe things would have been different. And you see a picture of a street and him and Poppy just walking towards each other on it, and then you get in so much easier, and then they bump into each other.
Yeah, and I have to say, she is wearing the same outfit that she wore when they first met. So he's wearing their first meeting in a totally different civilian setting. He's wearing his Professor Tora outfit, basically.
That is such a guy thing, though. Like, I don't remember what my fiance was wearing the first day I met him, but if you ask him, he can tell you what I was. Right. And I'm like, how do you even remember that? That was like, oh God, 12 years ago now.
I do remember what my husband wore. I'm trying to remember what I wore. I borrowed my friend's outfit. They dressed me for the date. I was not a good dresser. I was a horrible dresser then. They dressed me, they put makeup, they did my hair, they did everything.
Oh.
Like, I was 13. I was at summer camp the first time I met my husband.
That's so cute.
I was walking out of a restaurant with a friend, and I'm like, I don't even remember, to be quite honest. I didn't even remember that I met them at that moment. Wow. I thought it was later in the night. To which he was very upset with me. But,
oops.
But the fact that he remembers that outfit so vividly is just, for me, it's just such a thing. You get bump and oof, and then shit, sorry miss, didn't see you there, you okay? I'm fine, thank you, but my nose feels like it's bleeding. Are you serious? I'll have a look. Tilt your head a little. Oh, thanks. And you get this nice view of like him towering over her, looking kind of worried. And then you get her looking down, a panel with her looking down, and goes, miss, if you don't mind, mumble, actually I can just use my phone camera, could you look up for just a sec? And then you see the panel, and she's tilting her head. This angle's kind of up. Oh, my bad. She cuts him off.
This is definitely typical Poppy, because she can be very awkward sometimes.
Yeah. And this
totally oblivious to him. I mean, if she walked into him so hard that she thinks her nose is bleeding. I mean, like, if you've ever bumped into someone's sternum, that's very uncomfortable. And I have a large-ish nose. So like I bump stuff into it a lot, but like, yeah, if you're bumping that hard into someone's sternum, like you were not paying attention.
No. But the panel where she tilts her head back is also the first panel where I actually like really noticed that his arm tattoos are missing and not just his crest.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Right.
So, and I think
it's very, very muscular though. That part's big.
Oh yeah. Like obviously he's
love
still
some good forearm
out.
porn.
Right. It's obvious that he still works out, but at the same time, like, I don't know, there was like part of me was like, why would he get rid of the arm tattoos? And then I remembered this is totally different culturally from us, and that's probably part of the reason why, like, that's probably part of the reason why he covered them up when he went into Moonbright and stuff too.
Yeah, I think those tattoos specifically are identified with a mafia in Asia. So
yeah, those are Yakuza tattoos.
And then we get this panel of her just big-eyed looking up. Oh wow.
that's the stunning moment. I mean, she sees him, but that's how he sees her, as like this beautiful woman just appearing there.
And her shirt's not ripped.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure he regrets
one for Poppy.
And then you get the panel, or we see this dream Tora, and he's like, and he's blushing and everything. And then you get Poppy. You're really tall. I guess that explains the awkward angle.
Very funny. That's such a funny first thing to say to someone.
Right? I'm like, this is how you view that encounter.
Well, and it took me a minute because in rereading, I'm like, wow, that perspective looks a little funny. But if we got the top down perspective from his angle where it seems so dramatic, I think this is the upward angle that like she's seeing his chest and his forearms all look really big, but he's so tall that his head is so far away.
Oh, yeah.
Is really tall, by the way, and definitely people comment on it. Like it's one of the first things they say when they meet him, which is, I'm used to it, but it definitely it is normal for you have to say that.
And then he's so like struck by her beauty apparently that he's just, I don't know if he's like had to be I think from the jolt, I think he had to be like snapped out of that freeze moment. And she's like, hello, Mr. Sir, bro.
Yeah, had to get that in there somewhere in this meet cute scenario.
What, the bro part?
Yeah. Well, because in theory, nobody would be calling him big bro because he didn't get raised in that life. So it's like he's threading the different elements of his life in there in a way that makes more sense than what they currently are.
Yeah. And then from Tora you get, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but your nose looks fine. Sorry, my brain went offline for a moment. And Poppy answers back, phew, yeah, I think I was just panicking. I'm a little prone to accidents. And my brain does that too.
Yes, as we know. By her walking into him.
Right. And then we get, anyway, I'm actually new to this city, and I was wondering if, and then you see him waiting patiently as his hair blows in the breeze.
Can we talk about how absolutely adorable Poppy is in that panel? Like the cute little hair tuck, like she is like just like perfection adorable.
Right? Primo girl in your early 20s.
Yeah.
Her. I'm so happy she's like, well, here's a cute guy. I'm gonna shoot my shot. Well, she tries to.
Right. And then she continues. I was wondering if you and then she talks herself out of it. Actually, never mind that. As she's looking down and the panel goes all dark around her.
I think also a little bit was like, she was kind of waiting for Tora's reaction. and his reaction was just stoic, which that part of him is still the same in this scenario. So, and he's just, you know, waiting instead of being like, oh, she probably would appreciate seeing some enthusiasm on my face.
Right.
But he doesn't, it's not like he knows any other way to actually be. So I guess he's like just thinking he's just standing there. And then the next panel, she goes to walk away. She goes, guess I should get going now. See you around, as she goes to walk away. And I'm like, Pops, you almost had it. You almost you should. You
Yeah, but have
almost
you ever
asked
been
him.
encountered somebody that's like too pretty for their own good, and you're just like so intimidated by how attractive they are that you just like you're like, yeah, I can do this, and then you start and you're like, no, I can't. Bye, I gotta go.
Yeah. And then we get more of that overwriting Tora voice from like present day. If I could rewrite the past, I'd go up to her in one of those crisp, clean shirts, referencing the white button down. And you see him looking down, and it's blushing and the badumps.
He was wearing a shirt when they met, and he wore a sweatshirt over it. But right, he was wearing no, he changed. Our very first thing that we saw of him was with that shirt, like half open, like an actual collared shirt.
I think he had just come from some clan thing, so he was like, he just passed out on the couch in his like tux.
That's right.
But yeah, then he changed into like jeans and the hoodie, and I think he just had a t-shirt on underneath it, because my brain was like, no, he must not have put anything on underneath the hoodie. I'm like, no, he gave her the hoodie, and he definitely had a shirt on when he left the train station. We would have remembered that.
Yeah. Poppy would have remembered that. And I get ask her with a smile if she'd go with me to that cafe by the river, and then you see him actually yelling "hey" at her as she walked away, and then she stops, and he goes, I'm usually not this forward, but if you're not in a rush to get anywhere right now. And she looks back and she just beams at him, and I'm like, if this is how he pictures Poppy all the time, no wonder he loves her so much. Like, that is a ray of sunshine right there.
Yep, she's got like that kind of glow right behind her head. It's so cute.
It's beautiful.
Right?
And I
radiant.
I forgot to mention it, that side shot we get of him while he's budumping before, after the crisp clean shirt comment. I feel like Lily made a point of having him face that way. I'm 90% sure that's the side of his neck that his clan emblem is on. It's like it was again the significance of this is Tora free and clear of all of that baggage.
Yeah.
And he's so darn cute with that blush and the glasses.
Right?
He's also beautiful.
Yes.
Humankind.
Okay, now we're right. Now we're back to Tora narrating. We'd grab a coffee, and you see them sitting at a little patio table. I'd ask her about that book she's been reading, tell her about mine, and you see them sitting there like just engrossed in chatter. And again, you get a very firm view of his forearm without those tattoos. And then he says she'd get all happy and shit.
He still has his Tora addiction,
Right.
Exactly. Oh, and he knows how excited she gets about the books. As an editor, she likes reading. Like, he knows it's something that makes her happy. Like, my husband, he does not care at all about the books that I'm reading. But you know what? When I want to like go off about like the books that I'm reading, and I read a lot of romance novels, like there's so many like interpersonal dynamics in a couple series that I'm reading, and I want to tell somebody about it, and Jen's not done with the book that we're reading at the same time. So I've got to be able to tell somebody about it. And my husband patiently listens to me while I go like crazy about it. And he's like, and he gives me like the nod. Yeah, okay, that's nice. Like, he doesn't care about any of these characters, but he listens. He knows it makes me happy.
Wow.
Yeah. My fiance does the same thing, thankfully. Like, and my husband, like, we have a running joke at this point about like the romance novels and stuff that I read, because I will read anything and almost everything, to the point where like Amazon recommends me some weird stuff. Like, and now he lives for my book notifications, because what it comes out with is just above and beyond anything most normal people would read. But the amount of happy that Poppy looks at this whole conversation, just
again, she's beaming at him. She's enthralled. She's
that's
so
the
happy.
nerdy, like, happy look. and then we get more of Tora's narration of, because now she's made a new friend in the city to geek out with, and you see him having, like, trying to mirror that expression.
It's so awkward. I love it.
Right?
No. I've never seen it like that. Like, toothy grin.
Right?
The bowler showing. I mean, yeah.
Like, it almost looks like a grimace.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad.
And then the next part of the narration is, or whatever the fuck hipsters do in their free time. And the first time I read this through, I misread that as, or whatever the fuck hamsters do in their free time.
That's a good one. Yes.
That's also very on brand.
I had to go back and read it because I was like, there's no way that's what she just said. And then you just get this beautiful panel of them just like geeking out at each other.
And they're clearly already into each other, even on their first date, because they're like leaning into each other. They're so close.
Oh, yeah.
It's the cutest, like, cliche first date like moment. Like, if they were standing with each other, like, Poppy would have that foot popped, like, she's literally got that pose, but just seated.
Right. And as we come back to the same, very similar panel of today, Tora, I'm gonna hand it over to you, Mindy.
And he's looking at
Before we move on, also, I live for their size difference. He's so much bigger than her.
Yeah.
It's really illustrated well in that, like, coffee shop AU panel there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Cute. So yeah, his expression when he's looking at Quincy and Poppy is just, I think it's very wistful. And I think there's a little bit of a smile playing on his lips. Do you think so?
The corners are turning up.
Yeah. Like you said, but it's that wistful, hopeful, maybe someday.
Right. So I think that's great. Rather than ending that daydream in bitterness and sadness that he can't have it, he's ending on a positive note. Like, yes, like we may not have had that, but it's a nice thought to think upon. And, you know, at least we were together now. Or, you know, we have something now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So good for him. So he's looking at that. And also he's just enjoying their goofiness. And so I think he's smiling at that also. Because Quincy is just probably looking at each other, their mouths are wide open, they're like panicking, and Quincy's still begging, and it's just really funny. And now we have a buzz, and Tora takes out his phone, and right away we see that the edges of the frame are getting darker. So you know, it's a beautiful lit garden, it's very sunny, but then when he picks up the phone, which we right away assume is mafia matters, something dark, something negative, because everything goes dark. Now he thinks, if I could rewrite the past for her, I guess she'd prefer it this way. But meanwhile, so he gets his phone and now everything goes dark, and he's like, shit. So obviously whatever happened, whatever message he got, not good.
And he's got that
he's got a scowl on his face now.
Yeah, he's mean mugging his phone.
Yeah. So do you guys have any speculations about what he could have been informed about?
I'm wondering if it's another string of texts from Vincent asking him where the hell he went. Because I mean, we know that just before they essentially skipped town, Vincent was trying to hunt him down because of all of the stuff happening with the Nine Daggers leader getting arrested. Vincent was going to try to make some kind of move. And I'm wondering if now he's like, where the hell did you go? We have things to do. I need you here. Much like that time, the previous string of messages that he left unanswered from Vincent, where he just like went off on him and then all of a sudden was like, oh no, that's fine. No, must, like kind of like just trying to, lure him back in. But first he's got to explode at him. First he's got to, it's that explosion of abuse from Vincent before he tries to smooth things over, even though Tora's just not having it.
Yeah. I mean, there are any number of possibilities that like went through my head, like anything from, okay, Vincent's got something going on that he's telling Tora he has to come back for, to, somebody like has decided to like call him out because of 𝗵𝗵𝗱, or I mean, we got a panel a few episodes back where we saw that Gil and oh god, I can't remember how you say his name, like Starch, the Starch shark, however you pronounce his name. I can't remember off the top of my head, but the one we all dislike were working together. And I'm wondering if maybe one of them found out something about that even.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah, right. It could be so many things. Exactly what you guys said. I was thinking something to do with 𝗵𝗵𝗱 and 𝗵𝗵𝗱's mafia past. I'm always like intrigued by that. Maybe he found out like, oh my god, 𝗵𝗵𝗱's part of this, specific clan and blah 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 war.
Yeah.
I just thought of, what if it's something with Detective Lane? We know she's in Fiona Bay.
Oh,
And what if she snapped a picture of him while he's out and about in the city grabbing his solar lanterns, or, having, if I'm, maybe he Amazon deliveried them and he was grabbing them from like the front stoop and she saw him, because I'm sure because she was like, is that, they're driving by and she's like, is that who I think it is? So what if it's her checking in with him like, my dude, why are you here?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I would hope that if it was Lane seemed like a positive figure. I would hope that it wouldn't go so dark. So I feel like it's a little more ominous than Lane, but who knows?
Yeah, I thought so too. But I'm like, you know what? If he's trying to lay low and not worry about clan stuff, if she brings unwanted attention to him in that way, it could be an initial oh crap, and then hopefully it turns out to be something less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he says, and he thinks to himself, if I could rewrite the past for her, I guess she'd prefer it this way. And then what we see is her probably at a cafe with someone with a blue polo shirt with long black hair, and you think it's Tora from the back. You go a little closer and still could be Tora. And then he asks, would you, Pops? And you see the front, and finally you see it is not Tora. It is her, and I think it's supposed to be jewelry, a nice jewelry. And it says 10th anniversary album. So, and she looks happy. And so I think this is him wondering to himself, like, would she rather be with a normal guy? Let's say Jewelry was a nice guy, right? And they treated her well, but he's like a normal guy, like rather than Mr. Tora Mafia trouble guy. You see Jewelry in that? Like, when I looked on like someplace, like nobody mentioned there was Jewelry. So
that was also my first reaction. I know we all subscribe to the Patreon, and I know in the comments Lily did say it is not him.
Okay,
I think it's supposed.
yeah.
I think
it's supposed to be like I scrolled to some. I didn't see. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, she's like, it is not Jory. She would not do that to 𝗵𝗵𝗱. But like, I think it's supposed to be just like a generic everyman. Like it's just some guy.
I don't know. I read way too much into like one of Lily's Patreon comments of like if you know, you know. Like I'm like, I don't know, but now I need to.
And then I was because yeah, Jen texted me like on Friday night and was like, oh my God, who is it? And I was like, oh, it could even be like a remnant from like the original Canvas days of like, it was another character that we might have met or known at some point in the original Canvas story. So like anybody that had read the original, maybe it's like a kind of a shout out to them of, hey, this was a character that we didn't reuse in the Webtoons original version, but something like that.
I don't know.
We may never know.
I don't know who this person is. I can think
Yeah.
naturally.
And then Erin and I went down a whole rabbit hole on that one of like, who else could it be? I mean, could she have just like kind of drawn somebody that somebody like wrote a fan fiction about or something?
Maybe it's like her husband. I don't know.
I don't know.
Mr. Lily makes his first cameo.
Mm.
Oh.
It's sad thought, right? Where he's wondering, like, would you choose him and his messy, complicated life, or would you choose a normal person?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then we go back to Quincy and Poppy, and she says, I know. Or he says, I know, I'm not that airheaded, Miss Editor. And he's like, I'm highly glad I am aware that a living being might have written this not ago. So don't worry, we'll check the security cameras as soon as we can. So, okay, that's kind of like, to me, that's maybe a hint of like, oh, are we setting up for some danger, some drama?
And then my thought was, if they're security cams, why didn't Quincy just go check them if he wanted to find out about their midnight rendezvous in the garden?
Oh. Maybe they're only focused on like the porch, the house exterior, and not the garden. But yes, maybe he already did, and that's why he's like, there wasn't enough footage.
And Quincy's cursing Tora, knowing where all of those like little hidden spots in the security the gaps in the security camera.
They said they should walk away from the house, right?
Yeah.
They're just listening right there, so they have to move away. Little brother vibes. And he's like, oh, just let me reply to the delivery guys first. And Poppy turns around and she looks at the lantern and she sees that Tora is not there. And she wonders to herself, Tora? And we get a close up of the lantern and Tora is nowhere to be found. So I think he battled because of the text. And he did whatever he has to do as a result of that text. I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah. When I saw that, it felt kind of like he dropped everything and ran.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the box is not there, so he cleaned up and took that with him.
Well, yeah. I meant figuratively, not literally.
I know, but I'm like, I like when people put things away. There's a certain person in my household I'm always running after who would never remember to put the box away. So I'm like, I appreciate that. I'm like, oh, put the box in the recycling where it belonged, right? Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Poppy had that awareness of like, when you realize that somebody's watching you from somewhere and you kind of turn and whether or not they're there anymore. I think, it was that she had that perception of is Tora around? Like, is he looking at me? And then she turned and he's gone. Cause yeah, I think that whole daydream, what obviously took several dozen panels for us was, the blink of an eye, and he got his text and then was like, gotta go. I don't want to get drawn into what they're doing. I don't have time for that right now. I've got to go deal with whatever this nonsense is that just came up on my phone that turned me into, a Debbie Downer for the afternoon.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's also, he recognizes the fact that, when he gets into these moods, if he's near Poppy, like, she's going to take it the wrong way.
That's a really good point.
It could be that he's running because he doesn't want to make anything worse. Fight or flight kicks in, and that's okay, I better GTFO before I'm in one of these moods. I mean, he might be actually just recognizing the fact that he's going into that state this time, since it really affected her the last time.
I'm a big fan of that, because I think that's such a strength in a couple, to recognize sometimes like you're just not in the mood and you should just go away. Like you should go to your room and put yourself in timeout. Yeah, I think that's so wise.
I mean, that's my hope anyways.
I mean, if we're getting all this emotional growth, why not? You know,
right?
He's recognizing that he has emotions,
Mhm.
you know, and he's like, oh, hey, what are these? I mean, personally, when I started to like have to process emotions, I hated it. I don't like having like a lot of, you know, that level of emotion. It makes me feel out of control, and I don't like that. And I think he's recognizing what emotions he has better control of, and removing himself from that situation before he gets himself out of hand.
Yeah. And I mean, I just hope that, you know, they've been holding these boundaries, and like Poppy was seriously mad at him after the last one. And I'm just hoping that he's recognizing that, you know, he doesn't want to screw this up anymore. You know, she's just starting to forgive him. Then Dream Poppy was talking to him.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't like extricate himself and take care of this before he goes and talks to her and Quincy might get it, but she's not in the life, you know, so she's not going to understand in the same way. And he doesn't want to risk her.
Yep. All right. Any final thoughts before we close up?
No, I'm just so excited to see where this is all going.
Happy episode 100.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
So exciting. That's such a big milestone. I'm so happy for Lily.
Chum Chum is here to say happy 100th, right, Chum Chum?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Lily. No? Okay.
No.
Cute. All right, well, that's my cue to go.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, ladies. It was fantastic. It was a great episode.
Thank you as
so much
well.
for being together.
Yes, thank
Excellent.
you.
Thanks so much.
Oh, good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much to my current patrons: Susie, Lady Libris, Lily, Jenny, Molly, Veronica, Emily, 𝗪𝗏𝗱𝗃, 𝗪𝗏𝗱𝗃, Meg, Anne Rose, Priya, Alexa, Misty, Joanne, Patty, 𝗪𝗏𝗱𝗃, Esther, 𝗏𝗏𝗱𝗃, 𝗪𝗏𝗱𝗃, Marie, Emily, Jean, Jen, Erin, Kay, Lily, Beckett, Duranda, Christine, Sadie, Kelly, Daniel, 𝗪𝗏𝗱, Mrs. 𝗪𝗏𝗱, Jen, and Tatiana. Your support is truly appreciated.